Welcome to Connected, Automated, Electric, a podcast series brought to you by the National Electric Vehicle Consortium. You will hear experts from industry, agencies, and academia describe the broad spectrum of technologies that comprise the EV sector with a particular focus on preparing the skilled technical workforce. These technicians work in all of the EV sectors, including manufacturing, operations, system installation, and charging infrastructure. I'm your host, Mike Lisecki, and let me remind you that the opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect the views of our sponsor, the National Science Foundation. Our guest today is Glenn Cook. He's the founder and CEO of EV Transports and SafeRydr.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, Glenn.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your background, your experience. What are you doing today?
Well, I got into transportation probably about 16 years ago because it was a line item on my P&L statement when I sold one of my first companies back in 2008. And I had a gentleman approach me, and I said, well, I can help you with your merger and acquisition of your transportation company. Yeah. And we started working with a company called Veolia. That was here in the state of Florida. And by doing that, I became a member of the Motor Coach Association, Board of Directors, Limousine Association, Board of Directors. And the next thing you know, I was a lobbyist in D.C. for the transportation sector. Got into transportation at the Villages, became the business development VP up there. And I've been focusing on transportation for about the last, I'd say, 16 years.
Oh, cool. Excellent. Glenn, we're talking today, of course, about EVs.
Yes, sir.
So think about it as a broad sector, everything from light EVs all the way up through transportation and other things. What's the drivers of this sector? Is it financing? Is it cost? Is it regulations? Is it all of those things? What drives EV technology today?
Well, right now there's multiple things. It is the latest and greatest technology, transitioning the paradigm shift away from our fossil fuel industry as far as EVs are concerned, but you're also got to understand that it's multimodal. We're looking at smaller vehicles, your electric scooters, your electric bikes. We're working now on our motorcycles, our zero motorcycles. Autocycle is a new language for a three-wheel electric vehicle. Then we have our basic cars. Then you're getting your medium vehicles like your trucks and all the way up into class 4, 6, and 8 semi-trucks. So, and then we really get into it. You're talking about flying eVTOLs. The electric vertical takeoff and landing. So that, and even rail now, we're getting into electric vehicles.
Wait a minute. Flying vertical takeoff and landing?
Urban air mobility is what they call it.
Feasible today, or you're
we're doing
in the future? You're jetsoning me.
Yeah, no, we're actually, we're doing this now here in the state of Florida, actually.
Oh, how interesting. That's really good.
Yeah, we have companies that are local in Pompano Beach. We have some that are going to be coming to Lake Nona with Lilium here within the next year and a half. So here we go. George Jetson, here we come.
You mentioned Autocycle. I have to admit, including me, a lot of our audience isn't familiar with that. What is an Autocycle? Is it street legal? What is it?
Well, basically back at the beginning of COVID, I was working with Tesla, and we found out we couldn't move people anymore when we had our shutdown. Yeah. So I reached out to a company on the West Coast in Eugene, Oregon. It was called Arcimoto. And one of their business development people, his name was Sam Fittipaldi, said, hey, we need some help with some legislation in the state of Florida. They'd been working in California and Oregon and Washington State, but they wanted to bring the product to the East Coast. And essentially what the Autocycle is, it's a mixture between a motorcycle and a car. So instead of having 2 wheels or 4 wheels, you have 3 wheels. And it's very stable. They are crush tested at 10,000 pounds. They have a roll cage, double seat belt. And what we had to do is we had to go to our legislation and make them street legal. You have to make a viable product on the road for the Florida DOT, through NHTSA standards so that they're safe to operate on any highway.
Okay, so can I buy one today?
Absolutely you can. You can go online, you buy them just like a Tesla.
Interesting. That's very cool. A lot of our audience, Glenn, is involved with preparing today's technical workforce. So think about in the EV sector, a lot of them come from basic electromechanical backgrounds or from the electricity side, or sometimes they're called the mechatronics background. That's where a lot of people come from. As these people go into the workforce, are you seeing things they lack? Are they getting enough training in high voltage infrastructure? Do they understand safety requirements? What are you seeing if you've seen that?
Well, As of right now, I can know what I'm seeing just in our local communities, our retirement communities, master plan communities. We're actually seeing an influx from below the Gen Z now, where we're trying to train people coming out of the junior high school programs into the technical colleges. There's a paradigm shift happening away from fossil fuels. These people are going to have to be well-versed in computer skills, running diagnostics. They're going to have to be well-versed in putting in infrastructure like charging stations. They're going to have to understand what it's like to run a battery management system or a BMS.
Yeah.
Once those systems connect, it's basically like running a mobile iPhone. You can do software updates over the air now with vehicles, where we couldn't do that before. You actually physically have a hardwired cable connected to run any type of diagnostics. These systems are being created through companies like Tesla, Arcimoto. They're being created in larger vehicles like the Tesla Semi. Your Nextrans, your Volvos. Lion Electric is another one that's been built from the ground up for your school buses. Thomas Bus. We have to have workforce to be able to work on these things because they're machines. They're going to break. It's just the way our world is evolving, and it's more like a computerized iPhone with wheels on it.
Okay, that's not a bad analogy, not bad at all. So let's suppose I'm a community college faculty member teaching on stuff. Do I have to start bringing in internet IP protocols into my classroom, or do I send them over to the IT department to get it? Do I integrate it into my program? What should I do?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, we're actually working with some of the IT people that work with computer software and laptops and mobile phones. And we're seeing that connected vehicles are going to be a thing of the future.
Yeah.
So as we do that, we work with multiple agencies out in Israel. We work in Singapore. We work with companies in Germany, the UK, Brazil. So we're working with multiple nations because there's smart people everywhere.
Yeah.
So as we see what these countries are working on to provide their own net zero for mobility, we take the best of all these worlds and we converge it all together. So we're working with our local technical colleges. We're working with Seminole State. We're working with Valencia. Indian River State College, I love being able to meet Kevin and then be able to open that dialogue of how do we create that workforce of the future?
Sure.
Let's take best practices from all over, other countries, other counties, other states, and let's bring them right here. And I will tell you right now, what I've learned with our legislators, Florida has some of the most user-friendly language when it comes to EVs, autonomy, and multimodal systems that I've seen.
Cool. I'm from Arizona. I know Arizona thinks that they're ahead of Florida when it comes to that language, so they're probably pretty good.
I have some good friends in Mesa, Arizona, so
Okay,
they have some really good engineers out there, and they have some really good technology when it comes to infrastructure too.
Yeah, good. You always read about the upcoming increase in the charging infrastructure. We need that to support the growth of this segment of the industry.
Yes, sir.
That's also going to mean a lot of jobs, isn't it? Creating
Absolutely.
Infrastructure.
Right. I will tell you that some of the stuff that we're having to look at, especially like for our Class 8 trucking, is megawatt lift charging. How do you get a lot more power and to be able to cool that system? Because you're providing a lot of energy.
Yeah.
You don't want those batteries to become volatile.
Yeah.
So you're also looking at a higher efficiency, a higher heat capacity, so your batteries don't become volatile, which means catch fire.
Yeah.
And also we're looking at roadways that are actually going to be kinetic. You're going to be able to roll your vehicle over a lane of highway and then it will charge as it goes down the road. So wireless charging is going to be a thing of the future.
Remember your analogy with the phone with wheels? Well, now you just set it on this little wireless charging pad. That's
Absolutely.
I've got it now.
So we're actually going to be working on that project out at SunTrax, which is in Auburndale, Florida. It's about 4 miles south of Florida Poly.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a lane out there that's going to be about a mile long so we can test those. And then there's another area out in Lake County that there's going to be a huge segment that's being worked on right now with the Central Florida Expressway.
Got a related question in a way, Glenn, but I'd like your perspective. Is the public afraid of electric vehicles because of the stories you read about lithium fires? Or is it that just a hype from the media? Obviously, it's somewhere in between the two.
Well, I will tell you that I do have to talk to some media people. If it bleeds, it reads. So they're trying to put eyeballs on things and they want the wow factor and sensationalize things. But I can also tell you from experience that being an EVer for 8+ years, we're orders of magnitude less opportunity for an electrical fire than we are a fossil fuel fire. Think about it. ICE. We're talking about combustion engine, combustion. We're creating fire.
Yeah.
So they're 10 times more likely to catch fire with a combustion engine than you are with an EV.
Yeah. All right. So here's got 2 questions left. Here's the next to the last one. Again, I'm at a community college. I want to bring more students into my program because I've got seats available and I want to build my program. What message can I give to students about those job opportunities? What's the best way to approach them? Or should I forget the students and talk to their parents? Or maybe I should do both.
Honestly, what I'm seeing also is that I'm from a little bit of the older school where I did go to a 4-year and I got my master's degree in post-research. However, I'm seeing people as they come out of the workforce, they want to be able to get a job right away. They don't want to have to spend 4 years in a 4-year institution. So the technical colleges is what I'm seeing because AI has created an opportunity for people to learn quicker too. Yeah. So you can actually get an actual skill in a shorter period of time than you ever could in the past. AI is creating that opportunity right now. So I would say, be able to go to a technical institution. As far as an EV technician, if you're moving out of being a diesel technician or you're being able to move away from being a Ford service technician into being a EV technician, you can do it far faster than you could in the past. And you don't have to get a 4-year degree to make a livable income to support a family. It's great.
It's a good message. All right. Last question. Look into your crystal ball. What do you see out there 2045, 2050 for this industry? What's it going to look like? Your perspective.
Well, I have to say I have a lot of NDAs. I probably had more NDAs than I can remember. Okay. But I will tell you that we are working on Vision 2045 and even Vision 2050. It's going to be multimodal. And you're going to have to start thinking about things are going to be on the land, they're going to be in the air, they're going to be on the sea, and they're going to be underground. And then even where we live in Central Florida, so close to Kennedy Space Center and NASA, we're already talking about the space economy. What is it going to be like when you actually have people that live in space and visit the Earth? So when you talk about vision, we're working on the space economy right now with our researchers and development because we want to make sure it's safe. How do you breathe clean air on the Earth? And how do you even breathe air when you're in outer space?
Yeah, sure. That's a cool vision.
And it's happening. It's not only a vision, it's a reality.
All right. Glenn, we just want to thank you for all your time today, talking to our audience. Your perspectives are just great with your background, and you have a big picture approach to this. I like that very much.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Mike.
All right. Thank you, Glenn.
All right, buddy.
As we wrap up today, I encourage you to look into our show notes for additional resources. If you're interested in networking with academic, industry, and agency peers in the EV sector, and participating in meetings, grant opportunities, and technical publications, join our LinkedIn group. See the information in the show notes for that. And remember, connected, automated, electric.